Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the hottest show in social media history. I want to welcome you. It's like the hot seat, man. We're in the war zone. And I want to introduce my co-host, my man Donovan Sadiq, my good friend Demetri K, and our special guest tonight, Latonya Whittington. Free the weed, man. I need a legalized trap house. And Sharita Perez, we getting ready to go in, Doc. Say, man, I want to say top of the evening to you, top of the evening to you. Say, man, I'm in the building with my co-host, Donovan Sadiq, and my good friend, Demetri K. Before I do anything, I try to go out and locate some of the best guests we can find. Tonight, we got two fabulous guests that are going to educate you on something that needs to be done. But on May 9th, I'm bringing a legend in the building, man. Former All-American, two-time All-American, University of Texas. Former Tennessee Titan. My man Vince Young will be in the war zone on May 9th, man. Vince is coming to the war zone, man. All the big dogs want to come hang out with us, man. So we're going to bring them to the war zone. So May 9th, my man Vince Young is coming to the war zone. Texas high school football, college football, all-American legend going to be in the building. But tonight, I am in my entrepreneur Negro spirit. It's time to talk about it. They've been avoiding it in the Texas state legislation for years. But tonight we talking about freeing the weed, man. Now y'all running around here trying to open car washes and be rappers. I want a legalized trap house. I want a legalized trap house, and it ain't but one way to get it. We got to change the laws in the state of Texas, man. But it's just time to be able to do that. So I'm gonna turn this over because I'm gonna do more listening tonight. Because I'm taking notes. I got to get my trap house up and running. The name of it gonna be Smoke a Little Something. So, Demetri K, talk to us, mama.
Everybody. First, I just want to apologize to everybody for my internet issues that I was having last night. The guy just literally left like 5 minutes ago. So I want to operate out of a spirit of excellence. So I want to make sure I was good to go tonight. So anyway, again, hello to everyone. I'm interested in learning too more about the legalization of marijuana. Now, I know it's legal for medicinal purposes in like 33 states and recreational in 11. So it's really up to Congress at this point to, I guess, make it legal everywhere. And so I personally have a vested interest because I hold some stocks in marijuana. And so I know as soon as it does go legal everywhere, that's obviously a good windfall for myself. And so I'm interested in learning a lot more about it.
So, I've been having stock in marijuana for about 30 years.
What you got to say, Donovan?
Well, as you know, we have been investing stocks, and right now the stock thing is low for marijuana, because a lot of us, I'm not a smoker. I never used it, but we know a lot of people out there use it for whatever purpose they're going to use it. They're going to smoke it no matter what you tell them. So for me to open up a legalized trap house legally, it's going to cost millions of dollars. You got to have in California. They want to publish. So a regular person like me, there's no way I'm going to open up a marijuana dispensary. So I invested in the stocks, and that's where I was going. But with this pandemic, I want you guys to think about this too. What do you think about, since the states are running out of money, what is one of the fastest ways to generate revenue within the states and the federal government? Marijuana. That's what they're going to do, because what other options do you have? Nobody's working. So we're on the right subject for the right night.
All right, Ms. Whittington. So what do you have to say about the legalization of marijuana?
Oh my goodness, there's so much to say. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for letting me on the show, Monroe, Demetri, Donovan. I'm a great fan, and I've been watching you guys and how you stand up for the truth and the facts. And basically, it's all facts about cannabis. And I did want to correct you guys and try to get you in the habit of saying cannabis instead of marijuana. Marijuana is really a racist name for cannabis. The real name is cannabis. It's a long story, but cannabis means everything. Cannabis is also hemp and regular THC weed is what you would call it. I'm just trying to break it down so that you can understand. I really feel like in Texas that we are way behind and we are full of stinking. And it has been that way for the longest time. It's a way that the government is trying to hold us down. And especially as Black people, we're more accepted to go to jail for cannabis than any other race. The way that Texas run our bills and legislations is so wrong. And a lot of people don't understand that we cannot go vote yes or no for cannabis, that it has to be bills to pass to get us to do anything with cannabis, as far as smoking it, selling it, all of that, you know. So that's what I do. I'm the executive director for Cannabis Reform of Houston, which is an organization to help people in Texas and Houston learn how we can get it legalized. We meet once a month and we talk about all cannabis issues, whatever is going on, Houston and Austin, and those are our two focuses. Especially the Austin capital. So my thoughts. I'm a sick patient. I have trigeminal neuralgia. It almost killed me, but cannabis saved my life.
I tell you what, I'm sick too. I've been sick for a while. And back in the day, I used to smoke a lot of cannabis to help me with my sickness. And I would normally get sick
Right,
about 3 in the morning in the club. So I had needed my medication. No,
right.
but on a
And
serious
people
note,
smoke and smoke and smoke. Well, people smoke and they really don't know why they smoke so much. They probably dealing with anxiety, depression, uh, appetite loss. And so when they smoke, it might just help them sleep. When they smoke, it'll help them eat. I mean, because of your cannabinoid system, once you smoke, it enters in which we already have cannabinoids in our body. So once you consume, it desires more and it desires more. So, but it's a healthy thing and it's already in our body. My friend Sharita Perez is on here, and she's an artist from Houston, and she's in California now. Hi, Sharita. And I wanted to. Well, we got together. Long story short, she was doing a tour for her album that she dedicated to total cannabis, and it's called Time to Grow. And I really give it up to her for dedicating an entire album
the girl got the
for
weed.
cannabis. She lives in California now. And can you share a few words?
Sure, she can.
Hey
She's
again,
on the
Latonya.
she's on the show. How you doing,
Yeah, well,
Sharita?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm hanging out over here in Humboldt. I'm working on a farm now. I kept coming through here playing music, and then I made friends, and I started getting some jobs, which is really good for me. I have also a history of illness. I was born in Texas City near the chemical plants,
Uh huh.
so I was sick for most of my life. And through different types of natural medicine, I'm able to use my body more efficiently now than when I was in my 20s. I'm in my 30s now. But I just decided once I started learning about the endocannabinoid system, I wanted to share it with everybody, because it's not just me that suffered. It was also my family, like different members of my family, cancer and PTSD, and them over medicating people with opioids and stuff, especially the older people. And I realized that a lot of people don't understand a lot about cannabis. So I just wanted to share it. And so I made a pamphlet with my friend. And then I had my friends like Latonya come and speak all along my tour route from Houston to Humboldt after I got back from playing the first cannabis festival in New Zealand. Just all happened because I just wanted to share the information I was learning with people, because it's like learning a new kind of science a little bit. But once you get over the initial information, like what is an endocannabinoid system, we've had it, and then you start understanding that cannabis is a food and a medicine, and we've always had it up until prohibition of cannabis and hemp.
Well, let me ask y'all. Let me ask both of you something real quick. I'm gonna ask a question, and if you can, you dedicated a whole album to cannabis. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask a
Yes,
question,
sir.
and if you can you bless us with a song after I ask this question? Because I know your time is
Yes,
really
sir.
short. Why? And I'm just gonna ask the question everybody want to know. Why should they legalize cannabis? What is your
Well,
argument? If you're standing in the room with the decision makers, what is your argument to make them pass this bill to legalize cannabis?
Well, if you want to keep families together, especially your grandparents and parents alive, and help them heal their ailments and be pain-free and get off opioids, I'd say legalizing cannabis is a very necessary thing, considering it's been throughout our history, except for the last 100 years. It's been a very human thing. We've ate the plant. You lose 70% of cannabinoids in combustion. That's when you set it on fire and smoke it. So we should be eating it and making it into salves. I mean, you can smoke it too, but that would be my argument. I hope that's okay.
Ms. Latonya, what would be your argument? Why should they legalize cannabis?
Well, Mr. Monroe, that's a full question, because there's many reasons why they should legalize cannabis, because each person that will testify for it has their own personal reasons. Okay, like my reason would be for medical. Your reason is you want to trap out.
Legalize.
The two persons on here, they want it for stock. I have people who own CBD companies. They want it legalized so that they can have, real cannabis in there, with heavier THC, so they can make more money. You have disabled children, their parents, dealing with their children. CBD helps them. It's just so many reasons that it needs to be legalized. It was legal before. It's a medicine. It's natural. It's healing. Instead of taking 20 to 30 pills a day, in which a lot of people do that, you can substitute that for cannabis instead of killing yourself, your liver, everything just non-functional.
Well,
I have tried put on the wrong, and it's a medicine that I could take that can make me sleepy all day long. I don't take it. I substitute it for cannabis so that I can function, so that I can live, so that I can have quality of life. So that would be my fight, and everybody's, for quality of life.
Well, let me ask my co-host a question. Now, I'm down here in the great state of Texas, which sits right next to Mexico, which we know has a lot of drug trafficking. A lot of people don't believe that they will legalize cannabis for the simple reason they won't be able to control they realistically won't be able to control it to the point that they could make money off of it. So what happens? What's your feedback on the fact you might have problems with the cartels on this one? Because you finna cut into their money. That Texas border is major for them. So y'all give me some input on that.
Latonya, do you want to go first or shall I?
You can
You
go,
go
Sheree.
ahead.
Okay. Well, I think that it would be a big blow to the cartel because in places where cannabis is legal, you can grow anywhere from around the world, 1 to 6 plants, I think, per person or per property, depending on where you're at. And so, like if you don't have much money, seeds aren't that expensive, and often people will gift you seeds. You can make all the medicine that you and your family would need for a year off if you're good at growing. And then also if you don't, have enough, then you can supplement it by buying from a dispensary or, I wouldn't recommend the black market because it's, illegal. But your friend might have some extra from their grow that they could gift you as well. And so that's something where you take the power right out of the cartel's hands. And plus, there's people that have been growing in like Humboldt since the 70s. They kept the seed alive, or Amsterdam. So this cannabis here is going to be really superior because it's just generations and generations of growers. If anything, it'll make the cartels push like meth or crystal or cocaine more, because they'll have to make up that income from the cannabis because it's been so illegal. It's been prohibition. Prohibition didn't work for alcohol here, and it's not worked for cannabis. It only empowers gangsters that don't care about you or your family or your well-being. So I say make it legal and get rid of the cartels.
The difference with prohibition and cannabis is alcohol was made in the United States. A lot of this stuff comes from out of the country. So I'm thinking, and Demetri and Donovan, you tell me, I'm thinking we may figure out at that point that our border is not that secure, because I think we might end up in a lot of fighting with the cartels if you cut into their money like that.
It's already grown all over the U.S.
No, I get that part.
I mean, right now, legalization has made it much easier for us to buy from our own. What we need to worry about is the corporations. They're the ones they're making it so hard to legalize because they want to get into the position to own everything and run small businesses out of town. I'm seeing it a lot on my tour, not just in the U.S. I've seen it coming from friends in South America and New Zealand. They're getting these corporations get in bed with the government and they get first dibs. They grow their product in other countries and then bring it in. They're the real gangsters right now, as the corporations trying to push people and their rights out as far as getting their plant medicine. And from what I've learned.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
well, I'm just gonna say, and Monroe, listen. I personally don't think we can do anything about the drug cartel. That is still going to be there, regardless. But, the reason why we want these dispensaries is because, we are doing the black market right now. That's what I'm doing. It's true. So when I get it, I'm not sure what it is. There's different types of cannabis. You got your indica, you got your sativa, and then you got your hybrid, which is in between. So if we did have these dispensaries, we're able to actually go get the type of cannabis that we need for our condition, and then it would be prescribed from a doctor, right? So he knows your condition, he knows exactly what type of cannabis you need, how much percentage you need, and then there's other things, there's wax, there's oil, there's gummies. So it is a true need for that, but I really don't think there's any way that we could get around that. Personally, I really don't. It's not gonna go away, But yet and still, that's still not gonna stop us from fighting for our right, for what we should have in Texas, instead of being held down. We're so far behind in so many states that are ahead of us and doing more things, and people are still here and that are sick and that needs it, and don't really know what to do. I just keep saying over and over and over again. It's very important to stay in contact with your senator and your representative let them know that you want it legalized, you know, because when the bills come across their desk, they have to be able to know, listen, my constituents want this. I hate to vote yes. If not, we're going to vote your ass out. Okay. You know, and that's why I try to let people know when I'm out there which person is for it, who is not. You know, I've been kicked out of so many places. I have my cannabis sign, free the weed, and people don't agree with it. They don't like it. So what? You know, I'm giving awareness to it. I go to all places where you think it would not be mentioned, but it is because I give light to it. You know, it needs to be known. And 2021 is the year. Next year, we need to know. And I'll
Well,
talk more about that. Uh,
I think what we have to do is we got to be real with ourselves. We live in a state where cannabis is not legal. Well, we have no casinos. All this money is going out of the state. It's a reason that this money is going out of the state. It's a reason that these people won't do the things that just seem normal and they need to do. And the bottom line is just money. Somebody needs to make a bunch of money in order for this to happen. So we got to
to
figure
get
out
right.
who the movers and the shakers is. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I love a good old fashioned protest. But if I could just walk into the office where I know it's the man that's gonna make the decision, let's have a conversation. How much money you trying to make? Because I can't be standing in this hot sun all day with these protest signs. So I mean, that's what I feel in my heart. That if you ask yourself, we're struggling for money, but when it comes to gambling, we let money go to Louisiana. We let money go to Oklahoma. But we won't build a casino in the state of Texas. It's a reason why that's not happening. So the same thing with cannabis. I don't have a problem with it. I've never had a problem with it. You know, whether it's for medical or for personal, if you can afford it, do your thing. But you know, the bottom line, we gonna have some problems with them cartels. I'm telling you, we're gonna figure out that our border is
Yeah.
not safe because they are gonna be upset. But anyway,
And speaking of that,
go ahead.
during the COVID-19 right now, this legalizing cannabis would be a great thing to do. That would bring money back to Texas. And there is a petition out now that you can find on, you can go to my page, Cannabis Reform of Houston, and you can sign your name to Greg Abbott. And let him know that he should legalize cannabis right now. This would be the great time to do it, you know, because our state needs money, and that will definitely bring revenue.
Well, I tell you what, let's let Sharita bless us with a song, young lady.
Yeah.
Sir. I did want to say one more thing is that, I followed Latonya and I first met her actually when I was in New Zealand and I was looking to see who I wanted to come speak at my show when I was releasing this Cannabis album. And Latonya, when I was looking at her stuff, sometimes she's the only person that will show up when there's people voting on hemp and cannabis in Houston. She'll be the only one. And that's what it means. It's not so much the protesting, it's that she shows up for everybody while everybody's like watching Netflix on the couch. If she could have like 50 people follow her and speak about it, in front of representatives that want to hear from everyone, it would make a difference. But the only people that show up are these business people that have their interest in carving up the market. So I just wanted to say that. And I'm a big fan of Latonya. She's such a wonderful human being, and Texas is lucky to have her.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thanks for having me on the show, too.
No problem.
I do it for the medicine. I do it for the high vibes. I do it for the people who need that high vibe medicine. I do it for the medicine. I do it for the high vibes. I do it for the people that high vibe, real medicine. I do it for the family, community, every stranger that I see, and Mother Earth, the universe, and you and me, 'cause love comes first. Dispelling all the negative vibes, rewriting the future with positive highs. You hold the key between wisdom and strife. This medicine is real, and it just might save your life. Save your life. Save your life. Save your life. I do it for the medicine. I do it for the higher vibes. I do it for the people who need that higher vibes. I do it for the medicine. I do it for the high vibes. I do it for the people who need that high vibe, real medicine. I do it for the CBD, the THC, the CBN, and then again, this cannabis is just for us and all its healing properties. Choose to learn and discuss a medicine that you can trust. Learn to grow and then you'll know why. I do it for the medicine. I do it for the high vibes, yeah. I do it for the people who need that high vibe, real medicine. I do it for the medicine, yeah, yeah. I do it for the higher vibes. I do it for the people who need the high vibe, real medicine.
So Sharita, you're actually at work right now, am I correct?
Yeah, I was in the field working. I'm on a cannabis farm. It's part of the Humboldt Network, Humboldt Network. It's this farmer who's been here for 30 years. He's on the Cannabis Show, which is on KMUD, Community Radio. It's really cool. It's called the Cannabis Show. But I work for him. He just invited me to work for him. So I drove way far up in the mountains. And so I'm staying in this little white cottage. And then I get up every day and I work in the field. I plant these guys, bump them up, put them in the field, water them, water weed. And there's olive trees and stuff. So I'm going to be ripped very soon.
Wow. Well, look here. I'm getting real close to the camera. Where the weed at? Where the weed at? Is it in there with Show us the weed.
Babies? These are babies right here.
Show us the weed. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, God is good, ain't he? God is good.
Yes.
I'm gonna have a legalized trap house. She in there with the weed.
So imagine growing high THC weed, and it just increases year by year since the 70s.
Oh my God.
This is the product. This is just one room.
Look at that, beautiful.
Three rooms like this.
I know.
Oh my God.
Oh, beautiful.
Well,
Oh, we
let me
get
ask you guys.
Great.
Let me ask you guys this. As we know, the main reason why the cannabis is not legal is because the senators and the congressmen haven't set themselves up to be the main purveyors of the profit. If you've been following some weed stock, as you know, RJ Reynolds right now, the tobacco company, is really the only company set up to do this on a mass scale and make all the profit. But and I understand the arguments of the health thing and all that other stuff, but think about some of the jobs that this would affect. Now I fly airplanes. Would you guys be comfortable with me flying an airplane and I've got THC in my system and I'm a recreational user. And I'm very sure there's pilots that are recreational users, but I'm just saying on a whole.
Demetria?
To answer Donovan's question, I would not be comfortable knowing that my pilot has, I guess, a weed habit, if you will, or cannabis. Our new word is cannabis. But and admittedly, I've never smoked marijuana a day in my life, never done any drugs, so I can't speak to how I haven't, Gary. Some people say I need to, though. Okay, but on my mama, R.I.P. I've never done it. But I mean, I just like to go back to you guys' point about the cartels and and the corporations. Listen, the cartels aren't going anywhere. And for those of us who think the government is going to be mad with the cartel, come on now. We know a lot of times they go like that. So I think that's really just smoke and mirrors for us. But the one thing I would say about marijuana, if it does get legalized, they need to open up the jail cells and let out the people who are in jail, for selling it. And this goes to a lot of you guys who might vote for Joe Biden. Remember, a lot of his bills got a lot of our people in prison for selling marijuana. Okay, so they need to, and also if it goes legal on a big national scale, they need to make it easier for the little man. Because let's be honest, if you've been buying weed from Ray Ray and Pookie for 20 years, ain't no way in hell you're gonna walk yourself into a big glamorized cannabis store and buy no weed. And the last point, if doctors are prescribing this medicine, hell, we get paranoid if they prescribe us an aspirin. So what makes us more confident that the weed they giving us is gonna, be all that? Like, I would be skeptical. I'd rather get my weed from Ray Ray and Pookie than, a glamorized pharmaceutical company.
Well, I would say this here. I mean, it's different strokes for different folk, man. So, on certain conversations, I'm gonna speak for the hood. The hood requires a certain type of weed. The thing is the hood want the good weed. And the good weed ain't gonna make it. See, in the hood, they not worrying about riding no planes. They get Ubers. So as long as the Uber driver can navigate, they ain't gonna have no problem with it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I just think that I really feel it's time. I mean, it's time for it to be legalized. And I agree with you totally that if they legalize it, the people that you gave the drug charges to, especially the weed charges, let them go home, man. I mean, let them go home. And I think it would create more jobs. It's just a lot that can come from it. Just the revenue that could come from it. You could put that into education. You act like you don't have any money for education, so you could use the weed revenue to put into some of that to put into education. I mean, it's just so many great possibilities from it. I just think it's time, man. Stop playing with the weed, man. Free the weed, man, for real. Free the weed. For real. But I tell you what, Latonya, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Give me some closing thoughts, you and Miss Sharita. What you want the people to know?
Well,
Because I'll stand with you in Austin. I'll rock with you in Austin when it's time.
Yeah, I did want to ask you before I hit those points. When we talked on the phone, you said that you will be going to Austin with me, and so I'm going to hold you to your word. Now,
my word is bond.
The very important thing, huh?
My word is bond.
Are you going with me?
I'm in Austin every second.
So the big day that we're looking to go, it's a civil day, basically. And it's going to be in Austin. It's usually in April, so we're looking at 21. So you can go and lobby for whatever you want to lobby for. It's not all for cannabis. It could be for education, gun rights, civil rights, child support, whatever. It's called Civil Day. And I want to go down there. I want to rent a big bus and take all of my cannabis reform in Houston or whoever wants to get on the bus and go, and we can make a stand. I do plan on meeting with John Whitmire, Senator Whitmire, and to have a sit down, talk down with him, because he's very next to Lieutenant Governor Dan, because that's who we really need. It's really not Abbott. It's really the LT Dan that makes the decision, and he pissed me completely off last year. But just wanted to say about the comment that he made about the air pilot. Now, you said you really wouldn't feel comfortable if he was under the influence of cannabis, but if he needed it for medicine, now that would be a different thing. If he was prescribed for it, that's possibly what he needed to have, to drive the plane, you know. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get it legalized because it's not a drug. It is not a drug. It needs to be taken off of Schedule 1, which has been on there since the early 1900s. And the Schedule 1 drug, it has heroin and cocaine and other things on there that will kill you. Cannabis will not kill you. It will heal you. Okay. And then another thing about the people being released out of jail for cannabis, yes. I think the ones that are even in felony prison should be for pounds. Because what were they doing? They were delivering medicine, to people who need it. So they're being locked up because they're trying to heal people and help people, because we need help. A lot of people, all of us, we're not just using cannabis just for fun, especially me. My story, and I have to tell it. I have what is called trigeminal neuralgia, which is a nerve damage on the right side of my face. 4 years ago, I had brain surgery, 27 stitches in my head. They left a hole in my skull in the back. It took me a year to learn how to walk. But I tell you what, cannabis helped me. And it brought me back to where I was before. I know all that. Why? Cannabis. The doctor wants me to take 15 different types of medications. And I'll name them if you want me to. But I put them in my drawer, and I use hemp oil. I use cannabis. And I use gummies. Okay. Instead of taking those pills, which is going to give me life. I have a husband and I have a daughter that I want to live for and be here for them. I don't want to die from medicine that these big farmers want to push on us, and kill us. I want my medicine, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to smoke my weed. I'm going to do my dance. Okay. And I'm going to do all of that for healing. All right. And I've stood in front of many policemen, many speeches. I've been many places to talk about cannabis. I was the executive director for Houston Normal, which got depleted. And that's fine. They tried to take a Black woman down who stood up for cannabis. Okay. I still was very determined to keep this thing going, because there were people still reaching out to me who wanted this movement, who are sick and do not have a voice and feel like they do not have a voice in Texas for cannabis. So I give it to them. We meet once a month. When we get through this thing at Midtown Bar and Grill, I have representatives, I have senators come in there, I have different cannabis companies come and talk to us about what they want to do and how they want it legalized, because we want a voice. So I get very stirred up about it, because cannabis is my life, and it keeps me living.
I get that you get very stirred up about it, but I'm gonna give you some advice. If you want to move a mountain, you're gonna need a whole bunch of people.
I do.
It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work with 1 or 2. It ain't gonna work with 50. You need a whole bunch of people. And if they're not willing to stand up for what you believe in, we can't get it done. I see this at school board meetings. I see the Black people come in with a major issue. It's 3 of us. We get nothing done. I see the white people come in with a simple issue. It's 500 of them. They bow down to them. Numbers make these people move. Numbers make these people move. So if you go to Austin, you don't need one bus. You need 50 buses. If they want the weed freed, they need to show up. They need to stand with you, stand behind you, stand on the side of you. If you show up in Austin with 50 buses, the lieutenant governor has no choice but to listen. But if you show up with 5, they're going to walk you around, they'll show you a couple of officers, then scoot you out the back door. That's how they do. It may not be what people want to hear, but it's the truth. I've been to the Capitol fighting for bills. So the thing is when it's time to testify, you need to have all them people in there. They going to have to stay there 3-4 days. All them people need to testify for it. If they don't speak up for it, it's not going to get done. And that's where we always drop the ball.
Definitely a good point.
Mr. Monroe.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Monroe, I testified in 2019 for 5 medical bills. I testified for House Bill 122, House Bill 209, House Bill 1365, House Bill 3703. The main one was House Bill 1365 that flopped. It didn't even make it to the Senate.
Okay,
it was to legalize it.
Here's my question to you. How many people testified for it with you?
In total, for all the bills, it was 65 people that showed up on that day. It was Thursday, April the 11th, 2019 at 8 a.m. Texas, Austin Capitol. 65 people. And that's a shame. 2017, there were 25 people that showed up, and I testified then as well. So I'm not new to this. I've been doing
it. I didn't say you were new to it, and I don't want to discourage you, but we live in the state of Texas with a high population of people. We're fighting to get a bill changed, and we got 25 people testify. They're not going to listen to us. We got to have more people there. So if I can promote on my page to help get that number up for you, then that's what I'm willing to do, because I believe in helping people that want to fight in what they believe in. That's just me. So, we got to get more than 65 people down there to raise some hell to get this bill passed. And it's the same thing with justice reform. We got to do the same thing. We got to get the numbers. The numbers make a move.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys remember a couple months ago, I think the Supreme Court was talking about the Voting Rights Act or something of that nature. It has to do with Black people. And there were like a handful of Black people that showed up. Then the Supreme Court went with the Dreamers Act or the DACA's Act. All sorts of Hispanics showed up to support their bill. And they got stuff done. And you're absolutely right. You got to have the numbers. Without the numbers, they rush you out the back door.
Exactly. And you can't get mad at them because that's the game. Demetri?
I mean, I ditto. Ditto. Yes. I co-sign everything you guys said.
It is frustrating because, I go to school board meetings every month, and I can count the number of African Americans that sit in the room on one hand. No matter what the issue is, we don't show up for the fight. And we got
let me ask you guys this. Being in Texas, what is the main draw keeping casinos and revenue generating industries from coming into Houston? Or Texas?
I'm going to say this here.
Texas, sorry.
Why would you not allow gambling of that magnitude in the state of Texas? Why do you allow people to hit 45 and then 35 and go to Oklahoma and spend all their money? Or they leave Texas and they go to Louisiana and they gamble off all their money. Somebody doesn't want it to come here. So the only reason you ain't going to let a bunch of money come here is if you already getting money to stop it. That's all it boils down to. Same thing with cannabis. This is not rocket science. It needs to be legalized. Everything is outdated. Slavery got outdated. Civil rights movement, we had thing. So now we in this thing, and you still sending guys to jail for weed? We talking about for some weed.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna ask one question though. Maybe y'all can answer it. I've been looking at us living through this pandemic, and some of the moves that some of these politicians are making look like they already got the weed free. They already act like they high. Anyway, so why not just let us get high legally? Now I don't want to get high. I just want to set it.
One of my big questions was, 2019, when all the bills were being passed, that Abbott passed the bill to have alcohol beverages delivered to your home along with your meal from a restaurant that has a license to serve mixed drinks. Okay. But he couldn't legalize cannabis. He couldn't even decriminalize it. We had a bill, it was House Bill 63, and that's another section to decriminalization. It was 1 ounce or less, you get a ticket and a fine, but it's still on your record. So I'm sorry, you just get a ticket, and then you pay the fine, and then it was supposed to be no criminal record. LT Dan didn't like that. So he vetoed it and tried to blame Whitmire and said that it was basically him that wanted the decision. And when I talked to Whitmire, because you know that I am a Harris County Democratic Party precinct chair, and I'm also an election presiding judge. So I'm one-on-one with these cats. So what he told me was that blame it on the Republicans. That's always the word. Every representative and senator that I lobbied that year, and I'm telling you, I lobbied. I must have seen about 20 to 30 to 40 reps in sins, okay? And all of them, the Democrats told me, blame the Republicans, blame the Republicans. It's their fault, it's their fault, So we're going to see, somebody needs to get out the way. And my last thing, is that you're right, Monroe. I heard one of you guys say, soon as they figure out how to make money big time, they're going to go ahead and legalize it. They will, I was in a group session last week with the Lawyer Association for Cannabis, and they told us to be hopeful for 21 that it will be legalized, but that's broad. So that could mean medical or recreational. Ha joke. I don't think they're going to do it recreational, not in the Lone Star State of Texas. Yeah, But I'm pretty sure that it will be the medical. And guys, what we want for the medical is that we want them to put depression. We want them to put anxiety, inflammation. Okay? If we can slide information on there, anybody can get it. All right? You broke your finger, you hurt your toe, your back hurt, your nose hurt. You could go get your prescription for cannabis. Or you could go see a doctor and get a damn medical card and go get your medicine.
Well, all right, we appreciate you guys coming on. And free the weed, man. Smoke some for real. Smoke some for real.
Free the weed.
All right, thank you. They free the weed. Everybody gonna get high. For real.
Yeah. Yeah, but I actually think with a lot of the revenue that the states have lost, they're going to be forced to, with their backs against the wall, to get a revenue to bring that through. I mean, you're talking about billions of dollars that Texas is not generating.
You know, I don't get off into the details of some things, man. I mean, it's common sense why this stuff is not legalized. It's common sense why we don't have casinos here. You know, it's common sense. And I applaud her efforts. I think that she needs more people. You know, you gotta have more people. You know, I've been down there doing legislative season. Man, these folk get to fighting for some things. If you look up, they got 7,000 people down there fighting with them. You know, the black folks show up with just the ones that want to get high. 3, 4, 5 people. But I'm 60, 70 people. It's not gonna get it done. It's just not gonna get it done. And you'll be waiting another 2 years to try it again. You know, I like politicians, but I know when you go in there and you say you go and fight for something and we don't accomplish the goal, I mean, you come out of there and tell me anything. Pair of lips tell you anything. And politicians that can't look in eye, they be lying.
Mm-hmm.
They be lying. Why I went there, I went on. No, you didn't. And if you're not down there to see, you're not going to know if they ever went to war for it.
Right. You know, here in California, whenever I hear a politician say, I'm going to fight for that, we've been fighting for reparations for years. Stop fighting for it. Get it done.
Exactly.
Get it done.
It's a way to get it done. Ms. Demetra.
Hello.
We had a discussion today because, you know, everybody want to, you know, they say we got to talk about it. I sent you some stuff on the article that Aubrey Taylor wrote. I don't know if you got a chance to read it, Donovan, but it'll make sense to you. You know, people asking me how I'm feeling, and I feel like what went on inside of that article, what was trying to go on with me, where, you know, somebody's gonna fabricate, I'm gonna put somebody's personal record out. And y'all, excuse me, that's just on the level of some rat stuff. When I heard the recording, I felt like I was sitting in a room with some investigators, and this was like first 48. I mean, who's trying to set me up? You know, and just y'all fill in for me right now, because when I think about it, it really bothers me.
Well, all the stuff that I read, and again, I'm still getting caught up on Texas, the dynamics of Texas politics. But I will say this: whenever anyone talks too much, it's going to cause problems. As I said, I don't go to church. I haven't been to church in eons. If I go in there, it's probably going to blow up, and me too. Okay. But I do know the Bible very well. And it says, often, you're saying more than yea and nay will cause you to sin. It also says, study to be quiet and mind your business. And so the reason I say that is a lot of times people do a lot of talking, and they don't realize the damage that they're causing. And so for all the things that I've read within the last couple of days, to me, that just illustrates that people talk too much, because the person in mind, and we'll just go ahead and call it Miss Candace Matthews. Miss Candace Matthews sounds like she's been doing a lot of double speaking. She's been having candidates on the show, and then she's and it's been on video or what do you call it, audio tape rather. So she'll have candidates on the show and, you know, kind of big up them on one end, and then on the video or the recording, it's, you know, saying some other things. And so, like I said, to me, when people talk too much, and it's like people who talk too much have a lack of control, right? And like you said, it does give off the appearance of being a rat. What is a rat? Anybody who watches mafia movies and know anything about organized crime, a rat is somebody who talks too much, or who snitches, or who gives up the goods. And so I'm not saying she is, because I don't know her, but just from what I've heard, it gives the appearance That's what she is. And so if I were to advise her, I would tell her and anybody else, not just her, but anybody else, be quiet. Learn to be quiet, especially if somebody is coming to you and telling you something in confidence. You don't go back and tell because you don't know who you're speaking to. We live in a day and age where everybody has the ability to record you. A great example of that is Omarosa and Trump. There are pictures of her with her iPhone on the table in these high classified meetings, and no one ever thought, well, is she recording? My good friend Donovan, I won't give up his game, but he can record it. He got people on video and they have no clue as to how, because that's what he does. And so, you know, people who talk too much, they need to realize that you're always being listened to. You know, and especially if you're doing, you know, a lot of backstabbing, it's gonna catch up to you.
I mean, because I've heard the whole tape. So I've heard things that none of y'all have heard. You know, like the sponsorship from Metro. Well, wasn't the Metro chairman on their show? You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that I heard. And I'm going to be honest with you, why it's messing with me so much. I'm a street dude. I don't do rats. To hear you on tape, that bothers me. And honestly, I couldn't rest last night. I have no fear of anyone, but to just hear you on tape, it's not like you dislike me that much to do that to me. So why would you do it? Why? And you know what? I'm gonna just call a spade a spade. If that was my show, she would not be on my show. But if she's still sitting there, it's a reason why. See, the one thing I know is when you get in bed with the enemy, you can't get out until you serve the purpose. You have to finish the assignment. And any one of you politicians that are dumb enough to go and sit on that show, after what we've heard, everybody's heard, you're the stupid one when you get caught up. You're the stupid one. You're the dumb one. How do you take and see everybody thought I was crazy yesterday when I did the video on the way to Houston now, where I was saying Black Girl Magic, and Black Girl Magic was like a slew of female African American judges that won their races, you know, last year or 2 years ago. They turned that county blue. God bless them. And I'm riding down the road yesterday and I'm saying Black Girl Magic seemed like Black Girl Witchcraft. Now, it was a reason that I said it. Because I knew something that nobody that's in Black Girl Magic knew. Why you think I was on my way down that road? I keep telling you, I got a team with intel that's just crazy. So now all of a sudden in the article, you see the way it was written, and the man say, and he quoted it from the tapes. I heard it. You basically punked the police chief into having a meeting with all the black judges. I think that's a violation. Third parties cannot mediate meetings for judges. So here's my thing. You politicians got a lot of power. You have a lot of stroke. You seem to control everything. Y'all must got some punk in y'all right now. You can't get your people in order. Your people finna mess up your elections in November. But me, I'm cool with it because I'm nonpartisan. And I don't care. But I tell you this here, she's going to learn a valuable lesson, y'all. I've not had a chance to talk to y'all too because I decided that I would sue her for defamation of character as well as slander. My attorneys refused to back up. They don't want to hear it. We dealt with it for a whole week. when you were out there telling people I took money from a candidate? And like I tell people, I want people to understand. You got some people right now, they're upset because I say I'm doing this. Kind of let it go, Monroe. Well, was you saying let it go when my name was being slandered? What did you feel for me when it was me being thrown under the bus wrongfully, when I hadn't done anything? This accountability chair, Carol Robinson, that's over the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats, I challenge you, how can that woman sit in that chair right now? How can she sit in that chair? If you don't make the decision, you don't have a backbone, Mr. Robinson. I'm emotional. Y'all take over. I need some cannabis.
I throw the ball to Donovan because Donovan is very active out here, shall I say, with holding politicians accountable. And since we're speaking of Black politicians, he deals with a lot of Black politicians who are not above board either. There's a lot of money being exchanged. There's a lot of favors being exchanged, and so it's not odd. It's something that's I guess kind of normal nowadays. But I think the question is, what do we do about it, Donovan?
Well, like I've been saying for years, the main thing that you need to do about it to stop all that is put term limits on congressional members and people in congressional houses of the states. We don't need any professional politicians. If you're going to put restrictions on the president for 2 terms, you need to put a certain amount of terms on congressional people and assembly people. That would really stem the tide of them lowering their pockets. Can somebody please explain to me how is Maxine Waters worth $80 million as a public servant? Nancy Pelosi is worth over $300 million. We're not even including her husband. We're including her as a public servant. And nobody seems to have a problem with that. But we keep electing these people over and over again. Civil rights icon John Lewis. Look how much he's worth. Look where he lives in Atlanta. Don't even get me talking about your girl Lee down there in Houston. Don't even get me started about her. So, so we have to ask ourselves these questions.
You ain't scared on the war zone. Get started.
Right. I mean, ask yourself, public servants, how are these guys living in $1 million homes? It's crazy, and we let it go. And then when you look at especially the Black politicians, when you look at their record, you can go on their website or even go into their offices and look at the legislation that they've championed. Now, I live in California. I looked at John Lewis's thing all the way in Georgia. Yeah, he dedicated a nice post office for some of his civil rights friends. And don't get me wrong, civil rights is a great thing. And, they haven't done nothing since 1968, but I digress that. He named these things for Black people, his own constituents. He has no congressional record, but he put something up for the Dreamers Act. He put something up for those kids down in the border living in cages. It just doesn't make sense how we have a Black caucus that doesn't represent Black people. So, that's something for people to think about.
I'm going to say this here. I say this here. Why is it in every city in the African-American neighborhood, we have the same identical problems? They're all in the Black caucus. And, right now I got African-American politicians in Houston, they kind of pissed off at me right now. Well, the only thing I can tell you is better to be pissed off than pissed on. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
It's what it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about you naming a park. I don't care about you passing out some sandwiches right now because of a pandemic. I'm worried about people being homeless when they come out of this pandemic and that rent done been pushed back 2 months. And now they ain't got the money because they ain't been working. But we're officially out of the pandemic and the judges got to go in and start evicting folk. I need you to understand that. But see, we continue to support The people that do nothing for us. Now I will, and I've been doing this, and I need to fix this. White Democrats at the moment ain't no better than the black ones. Y'all trash too. Now the ones that, why is he calling us that? What have you done for black people? I don't, look, the one thing I don't do, I don't just disrespect you because it's the thing to do. I don't just call you out because I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm gonna go over to District B. Now, you remember the District B race, Demetri.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we had the missing candidate. And then we had 142 that's covers B in other areas. So that the 142 is, no, the 142 was the missing candidate, and the District B race was the Cynthia Bailey race. Okay, so let me show you how this works. Why the hell I can't call all y'all out over there? The crime rate in that area is 54% higher than the national average. But yet, you have a 21-page comprehensive plan to decrease street violence, and none of you elected officials stepped up and helped with it. So my question would be, why do I need to champion you? So I'm calling a spade tonight. If you want to come on the war zone, you damn right we gonna ask you tough questions. You gonna get the business over here. But if you looking to get your behind kissed, as they can see me podcast, run over there. We don't wear MAC lipstick over here. And I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them, I'm sick of them, and I'm sick of them. People need to start looking at other options. When it's election time, I'm sorry. If you've not cut the mustard, you need to go.
I will say this. So we keep asking the question of how these black politicians, and I'm glad you point that out, because the white ones aren't no better as far, especially as far as the Democratic Party. That's where the black ones learned it from, right? But as far as how they keep getting elected is because we as black people, the voters, the constituents, or however you want to call us, we are too wrapped up into symbolism. Yes. Donovan makes a good point all the time with John Lewis. What does he say all the time? Like, what gets us all in a bunch?
When I walked on Jerry Pittis' bridge, I got my ass beat, and I stood up with King. I walk with King. You come down with me every year. That's his claim to fame. And it gets us all riled up in nostalgia. We love it.
So guess what? Guess what Monroe would tell him right now? If you walk through the wrong section of Atlanta at 12 noon, you'll get your ass beat right now too. I'm dead serious. I don't want to hear them old Negro spirituals no more. See, because if we keep bringing up the old Negro spirituals about what we did back then, well, why you ain't doing it now?
But I'm telling you, it's always going to be on us. We are not asking us. We are. But I'm talking about the people who are wrapped up into the symbolism. Just today, I think, was it Hillary Clinton endorsed Joe Biden? Do you know how many more black people going to vote for Joe Biden just because I have hot sauce in my bag, endorse them? We are happy. There's a broad talking about she got hot sauce in her bag. Ooh, she was married to the first president. All that.
Hillary, can I say this for Hillary? Donovan, you might want to chime in here. Hillary, you need to spend more time with your husband with his freaky self.
Absolutely.
Your time has come and gone. We ain't dealing with you no more.
But think about this.
On that old nasty man that you got for a husband.
But think about this. The Democratic Party, okay, you're touting, you bring out old Hillary. She was the main antagonist that brought out the Trump voters. And you're going to have this woman endorse Joe Biden. What do you think that's going to do to the other side? All of this is a political football game. And what we got to learn to do is stop playing the game and start demanding action on things that we need that's going to benefit us. Like I said, fighting is one thing. Get it done.
Let's look at what Robert Williams said. He'll be on the show Thursday night. We're giving our votes away with concessions. Vote blue no matter who. How about until we see ourselves in your platform, I will withhold my vote, even if it means re-electing Trump. We are tired of our votes being taken for granted. I totally agree, and I'm going to say this here. If you don't want us to vote for Trump, if you don't want the black people to vote for Trump, then do something for black people.
Exactly. Robert, you must have been watching my show, but here's the thing. And, you know, we get caught up in the symbolism and the word points. How many here in California, think about this. Gavin Newsom gave $380 million to non-citizens to help them get through the pandemic. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for helping everybody that needs help. You go to any other country and see if you're in there illegally, will they do anything to help you? We ask for reparations, we get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Dimitra?
Right. And I always say this, and I know a lot of people get mad at me. I mean, I've been called everything but the child of God. Listen up. Trump is not black people's Frankenstein. Now, is he a monster? Absolutely, yes, he's a monster. But it is not our responsibility to get rid of Trump because we did not put him there, despite what everybody says. Oh, well, you know, enough black people didn't go out and vote. That's not true. Black people overwhelmingly voted for Hillary Clinton. They just didn't vote enough, I guess. You know, there's a whole lot of conspiracies or whatever. But Trump is the president. We didn't create him. So if the Democrats want something, because Democrats cannot win anything without black people. It's a fact. And when we wake up to that, that's when the Democrats are going to start doing us like they do the Hispanics. What do you guys need? Okay, you need some DACA. You need some money because you over here illegal. Then they're going to start doing stuff for us. But until then, you know, like Malcolm X said, don't become a political chump. And he even said black people that vote for the liberals are a traitor to your race because, you know, they continue to lie and they do nothing. Now, if they want our vote, then they need to give us some tangibles. Reparations is a good thing. We need a whole host of things, but we can start with reparations. We don't need no study. We know, I mean, hell, everybody know about slavery and the horrible institution that it was. We know enough about that. Write the check. But until we stop fighting with each other, you know, talking about we need to get rid of Trump. We need to get rid of Trump for what? Why do we and Joe Biden ain't no better. Joe Biden it has a worse record regarding black people than Trump has.
Well, Joe Biden's platform, he says that I'm for the status quo. He has no platform whatsoever. But you're going to hear a lot of, especially the older black people, you know, my baby boomer generation, my parents' generation, they'll say, we got to get Trump out of there. We got to do this. And we need the majority. You got to play the game and we got to get the majority. Please explain to me, how did Obama get obstructed for 6 years and the Republicans were in the minority? So don't tell me we need a majority to get anything passed through legislation. We can get it done.
That's what they tell us, and that's what they want us to believe. And because we are so uneducated when it comes to voting, we believe it. Oh, well, you know, to Donovan's point about Obama, well, he wasn't he was the president of everybody. You know, Congress was obstructing him and he couldn't do it, but he did use executive order on a lot of things. He just didn't use it to help his own people. So we as black people need to stop believing the hype and that there's nothing that can be done for us. For up until recently, people were talking about, well, where the money gonna come from? They don't have the money for reparations. And we saw Congress lay out trillions. Within 2 weeks. They gave a $1.5 trillion to the stock market and they tricked it off the next day. Just like that. They could have paid that money, you know, to get rid of student loans. So the money is there. We as black people need to just wake up. Seriously. You get rid of Trump, you get Biden, and then what do you have? And what was the first thing Biden said he was going to do when he gets into office?
DACA.
and LGBTQ.
You.
On day one, he didn't say, well, thank you, Black people. I enjoyed all the good fried chicken in your churches, and you were just so kind to me. I'm going to throw you a bone. He didn't say that. He said, you know, that he was going to help the gay community day one.
Well, let me ask y'all a question, because I know it's some people thinking this. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. Minus the crazy stuff that Trump say, what has Trump done to Black people for them to hate him so bad?
I'm still trying to figure that out myself. Other than being, you know, outright bigot, Archie Bunker type guy.
That's who he reminds me of.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't. You know, me personally, I really can't say, because ever since Trump's been in office, I've been making out like a gangbuster. So, you know, personally, so I just can't see it.
I will say this. I will say Trump has done some things to Black people. You know, we know the Central Park 5. We know a lot of the discrimination, the housing discrimination he did with his father, and, you know, little things here.
But let me play devil's advocate.
Okay, but let me finish.
4 years in office, not 20, 30 years ago.
But see, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I don't want to be remiss in saying he's done nothing to Black people, because we know that's not true. However, since for all you, let's vote for the lesser of two evils. Let's play this game. If I'm going to be forced for the lesser of two evils, then shouldn't I be voting for Trump? If we're speaking in regards to Black people.
Because Joe is a monster.
A monster.
I don't care how they put it.
He's a Dixiecrat. Always has been and always will be. Period.
Now, you know they're going to call us the new Diamond and Silk.
You know what?
I don't care what you call me.
Wait, with Donovan. Diamond and Silk with Donovan.
Diamond and Silk and Donovan.
Well, you know what? This is the thing. I don't care what you call me. I'm always going to tell the truth. And like I said, I'm a student of Malcolm X. I know he's no longer here, but I still follow his teachings, okay? And to me, it has to make sense. As I always say, I need something for my vote. It's the equivalent of going into the grocery store and going to buy some bread. They don't have bread, and I leave out without my money. If you don't have the bread I want, I'm walking out of there with my money, and I'm going to hold my money until you get some bread I want. Voting is an investment. Black people keep telling the same old lie, and I keep saying this. Oh, our ancestors died for our right to vote. No, the hell they didn't. They died for us to get something for the vote. And as I said, a lot of our ancestors did die and shed a lot of blood. And for us, since the 60s, to keep just going into the booth and not getting nothing for our vote is blood on our hands too. And we should be ashamed, honestly.
Well, let me read this comment real quick. JJ says, through legislation, he's done nothing impactful towards Black people. Now, I'm going to flip that for you, JJ. Mm-hmm. What has the Black elected officials done that was so impactful for Black people?
And let me answer that. So when we say impactful, that means that it was something done that had an effect on us, right? Well, doesn't he not have what you call the Second Chance Act, or there's some crime reform bills, and he has given money to HBCUs and I think some farmer stuff. So he's done stuff for Black people. So that's why I always ask. And again, I'm not a Trump supporter at all, but to me it has to make sense eventually, right?
Yes.
If I'm gonna vote for the lesser of two evils and I match Joe Biden's record up with Trump in regards to Black people, I'm going to vote for Trump, since you guys are forcing me to go vote for the lesser of two evils. Now, if we were smart as Black people, because we still have time, we can say we're collectively going to hold our vote until, whether it's the Republicans or it's the Democrats, going to do something to help Black people move the ball. Since the 60s, the false idea of civil rights was the last major gain that Black people have had in this country. We have not moved the ball since. In fact, it's gotten worse for Black people. So we should get all ourselves together. We're not voting until one of you parties, who are really the same, set something on the table that we can sink our teeth into.
You know, I'm gonna put a comment up there. Alana say you can't do that, baby. Let me stop you. I know you're a millennial, and I know you really tell me why the hell I need to vote for Joe Biden when I got 6 people I know in jail over bullshit for 30 years for one rock.
And again,
I don't want to hear nothing about no justice reform. None of that.
Again.
30 years for one piece of crack rock.
And again,
Joe Biden, go to hell.
Again, Alana, and no shade to you, Alana, because I know you've been sold a vote bill of goods and that black people need to vote. Why? Everybody else gets something for their vote. We are the only ones that are used, as Dr. Umar said, and I know he done flew the coop a little bit, but I still love Dr. Umar. He called us political prostitutes because we sell out. I ain't gonna cuss. We sell out for nothing. Everybody passes us around. And when they're done, we have nothing to show for it. So why do we need to vote? Like, voting is transactional. You're supposed to get something for your vote. You're wasting gas and time going in there and vote blue. I hate that. Vote blue no matter who.
And you know what? When they got rid of straight ticket for some of these blacks, the black Democrats, well, Democrats in a whole. You see what I'm saying? Man, go up in there and pick the right people, man. Take the time out, do the research on your candidates, and go in there and pick the right people.
Right. Let me say this real quick in regards to Alana. Great that you're thinking outside the box and you're listening to different opinions. I appreciate that wholeheartedly. And you're a very smart person. 2000, Gore versus Bush. What did the Supreme Court decide in Gore versus Bush? Well, it decided your vote means nothing. Hillary Clinton versus Trump, 3 million votes. Your vote means nothing. The most important vote is locally. Your senator, your governor, your mayors, your congressman. The presidential, the federal vote, they basically told you, do you feel good? Fight. Keep fighting each other. Yeah, doesn't it feel good? You voted for the president. They're the same party. It doesn't matter. Obama was in there for 8 years. A black man didn't do zilch for black people. And when they asked Obama, what about reparations? He goes, it can't be done. Reparations can't be done. It can't be done. We'll study it. Joe, could you study it? That's what he said. A black man. So if a black man didn't do anything, you think Biden, who put millions of black families, just destroyed them, you think he's going to do anything? I mean, and then when they asked Biden about what's he going to do in regards to that, what did he say? If I can go back, I would do some things different. Why didn't he say, well, when I become president, this is what I'm going to do. Everybody that was convicted under my law will be released immediately. He could have said that. No, he didn't say that. He's like, oh, well, 3 million young black men destroyed. Oh, well. So, but just think legally, your vote on the national level, actually, it doesn't mean anything.
And I want to say this to Alana. I want to address 2 things that she says. You say, well, we don't have a choice if we don't vote. That's bull. We don't have a choice when we vote. So what difference does it make? Like I said, I might as well save my time and my gas money. Like, what if Alana, put one thing up here the Democrats have done as a whole for black people since you've been able to vote. And then the other thing, I hate to hear people saying, well, if you don't vote, you can't complain. That's bullshit. I'm going to complain. You know why I'm going to complain? I'm going to complain because I have to. I'm 49 years old. I voted since I was 18, and we have not gotten anything for our vote. So I'm going to complain that we haven't gotten anything, although I voted every time that I can. That's why I'm going to complain, even if I don't vote. That to me, that is like the most maddening thing. You can't complain. Why not? I think we should be complaining, especially as black people, that we continually take ourselves in those booths and get nothing for it. Only a dummy will continue to go in there and lay their vote down and walk out with nothing.
You got to understand too that like when you were speaking of Trump and Obama, why you didn't pardon Jack Johnson
or Black Panthers?
But Jack Johnson, Trump did that. What about the black lady that was locked in prison forever? Why didn't Obama do it? You people here want to argue with me Tell me, why didn't he do it? And I'll tell you exactly why he didn't do it. He's going to tell you he did not have the political protection that he felt he needed. No matter if you like Trump or not, he did something that this man had 8 years to do. He never even thought of doing it. So for me, unless y'all can tell me a good reason, I'm not cutting for Biden at all. Not gonna happen. I'm not falling for that. See, Biden is that drunk uncle that show up pissing all over all the females at the party. As soon as he can get one of y'all in that back room, he gonna show you. You can fall for that Biden foolishness if you want. But I'm not telling you to vote for Trump. I'm telling you to look at these records. Look at what they've done. That's why I am nonpartisan. I look at what they've done. And if it doesn't match up, and right now, this is a bigger gap in this election than it is in equity and education. You can say what you want about Trump. Biden is nowhere near him. And the only thing I think he got a shot at doing, and I don't think it'll happen, if Michelle Obama is his running mate, he might make some noise. Everybody else, welcome to the slaughterhouse, and the crazy man wins again, hands down.
Right. JJ is saying, where else can we go? What it is this: if Black people would start withholding their vote, they would start taking us a little bit more serious, because the Democrats will not win ever again, and it's about power. So if they can't get that power, what's the point? Then they'd have to cater to us. So to be worried about, oh, well, where can we go? There's nobody else. And you have this Pollyanna, somebody save me attitude. That's where they got you. The Democrats figure, you ain't got nowhere else to go. Vote for us. We ain't gonna do nothing for you, but continue to vote. But you say, you know what?
And locally, you don't see them, but every 2 to 4 years, when they showing up in your hood with the turkeys and begging in the churches. Just be honest about it. You do not see these people.
I want to, Alana, she's very vocal. I want to address her point. I have 2 points, actually. Her point about, do you think it was easy for Obama to push the pen while in office? He pushed the pen for everybody else while he was in office. Everybody else benefited under the Obama administration except for Black people. In fact, things got worse for Black people under the Obama administration. So stop telling that lie that he couldn't get nothing done. He used executive orders quite a bit. And then the other thing, excuse me, Gary, Michelle Obama. So a lot of people will talk about, oh, Michelle Obama should be his running mate. And I'm talking, asking you guys to look from it from a Black point of view. Name the last time Michelle Obama has been seen anywhere talking about what's going on with Black people. In fact, I gotta ask the grind with Michelle Obama. And I love Michelle Obama for a whole lot of other stuff, but I don't like her for this. She denounced Mr. Louis Farrakhan and Jeremiah Wright. Her and Obama sat up in Jeremiah Wright for 20 years. In fact, he married them. You guys remember Jeremiah Wright when he says, when they tried to call Obama to the carpet behind Jeremiah's comments, America, goddamn. Of course, it was more to the speech. Now we know that Farrakhan and Obama were on friendly terms, and they've met a few times, but they both denounced those people. And for what? So you mean to tell me that Michelle Obama is going to get on the ticket and help Black people? She's not going to speak for Black people. She's going to do exactly what her husband did, and that is, appease white people.
And real quick,
I don't care if he go get the Virgin Mary. I ain't.
well, real quick, we're 4 years into a Trump administration. Obama hasn't said one word. So what does that tell you? He hasn't said one word.
Right. So
do I need to drop my mic and walk off, or?
That was a cold statement.
Yeah, so we're just asking, and I know, like I said, it's unpopular because, especially us as Black people, your mama, your grandmama, your great grandmama, and them told you to be, Democrat, vote Democrat all the way down, vote blue all the way down. But anybody ever thought to ask, okay, why, grandma, do I need to vote blue for everybody? What has this blue person done? Or what has this person done for Black people? Nobody's really ever asked those questions. And so when you have people like us and a couple people on the comment section, say what we're saying, it becomes unpopular. People automatically accuse you of being a Trump supporter.
Well, remember, Demetri, you're talking to the grandmothers, right? That generation, what did they do?
I don't like that.
They pulled the ladder up for everybody else. So it's like, I got mine. My mom and I argue constantly, generationally, about what's going on. Why can't y'all get off y'all feet? Why ain't y'all doing this? Well, that's because let's talk about Social Security. Notice baby boomers are always talking about protecting their Social Security, but they're talking about cutting yours, or you not even getting it.
Right.
It's a generational thing. So, that's another problem that we have. They made it. They're 70 years old. They're not concerned. They've lived their life, got the big house. They live the American dream. But if you're a millennial, and what's going on right now, oh my gosh, you guys don't have a chance. You guys don't have a chance.
Alana, Obama has done nothing for you as a Black person, specifically. Nothing for you.
They don't. Demetri is falling on deaf ears. They got their Negro president. If he fought it when he was in office, that was a major accomplishment for Black people. That was a major accomplishment for Black people. So, if they feel he's done something, like she said, Michelle does a lot for education. Not in the schools I walk in. Not in the Houston Independent School District. What the hell she done did for her? You say, well, I see her in Chicago all the time. She live there. You supposed to see her. When she water the grass. Hey, Miss Parker. How come they ain't getting no passes for me? Bottom line, and I'm gonna end my side of this argument with this subject. If you can show me, Alana, that Obama did more for Black people than gay people, we can continue this discussion. Because he did nothing for us. To me, he's the great Negro failure. I hope they ain't mad.
I'll go ahead and just say this. I mean, I know I'm personally, I'm tired of being nice. And I also follow the teachings of Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey said, everybody ain't gonna make it. There are some, when he was trying to take now listen to this. Marcus Garvey had worldwide over 3 million. They said it was between 3 to 6 million, but we'll go with 3 million Black people worldwide ready to go back to Africa. Now, of course, there was a lot of Black people like, nah, I don't want to go there. They wanted to stay with the status quo. And he said, no doubt there are some Negroes that are no good here, and they will be no good over there. That being said, we're going to have to leave some of them behind. And I agree with you, Gary. Some things are just falling on deaf ears. And you have to go reach the people who are willing to listen. Because to me, I'm not very smart at all. But to me, it's just logical. It's a give and it's a get, right? Yeah. And Black people are the only ones, it's mostly Black people. I won't say the only ones, but mostly Black people talking about, well, Congress was blocking Obama. What was he supposed to do? Why do you, that's another thing Marcus Garvey said too. Black people, we have no love or knowledge of self. Why are you making excuses for politicians to do nothing for you? Do you not feel worthy? Do you not feel worthy of getting something for something that you're giving? We are worthy. Stop making excuses for people like Obama. And Biden to this day, he says I'm not giving reparations. I'll be damned. if I give reparations for something that my people, my ancestors did. I wasn't responsible for that. And he still to this day ain't trying to give you Negroes nothing. But on day one, he gonna give the homosexual community whatever they want on day one. But he wasn't in the homosexuals church. No shade to them. He was in the first place he went was South Carolina into the Negro churches and hooped and hollered and shook his tambourine because he knew that's all he had to do for Black people was just show up. So like I said, I'm tired of playing nice. I'm done talking to people because I don't argue with people no more. I don't do that. I'm not trying to change your mind. Me personally, I am firm on not voting if I am forced to choose between the lesser of two evils. Now, I have said this before. If y'all gonna force me to go into the booth, I'm gonna write in Minister Louis Farrakhan because I can do that.
And then real quick to is it Jay? I think it's JJ or whatever. Some people are saying this. Let's say Biden does win, and you guys are talking about Bush is a killer and all the deflecting that's going on. Okay. They did not go after Bush for war crimes, right? They did not go after Bush for war crimes, and they will not go after Trump after he leaves office. If you don't believe me, and if Biden gets in there, or when Trump's term is over, the power party does not crucify their own. That's it.
And Alana, you're saying that incarceration rates fell, but so did the wholesale murder of Black people by police brutality under the Obama administration too. So I mean, I'm really trying to follow your logic. But if you really are interested in helping Black people, tell Black people the truth. Stop selling Black people lies and feel good and symbolism. That's what's wrong with us. Neely Fuller Jr. says that about Black people. We are always celebrating and want to feel good and we want the symbolism, but we're not getting anything. Let's actually get some tangibles.
We get nothing.
Nothing.
And guess what? They're comfortable getting nothing. And the ones that are vocal, you're getting a little something. Let's just be real with it. If you're supporting certain people, you're getting a little something out the deal. That's why you can't see what we see some days. But I'm like you. I'm not trying to make anybody change their minds. I have to go into that voting booth also. I'm going to compare them records, and I'm going to do what I do on that day.
I'm going to just say this to Alana. You say you out there in the communities, and that's commendable because a lot of people are not in the communities. But what are you in the communities doing? Are you in the communities waking Black people up and saying you deserve something for your vote? Or are you going in there telling them vote blue no matter who because we need to get rid of Trump? Like, what are you telling these people? Because if you're not telling them the truth, you're wasting everybody's time.
You know what? I mean, she's saying we don't understand politics. Let me see if I get this, Donovan. And I really want your opinion. Okay, so I don't understand politics, Alana. So, the president to me is like a little figurehead. Senate and Congress, they do their thing, right? Spend 4 years bugging the hell out of Trump, trying to impeach him when we knew we didn't have the votes to get it done. Why didn't we spend 4 years trying to figure out, could we create a decent working relationship with this administration? We spent 4 years trying to impeach a man, wasted millions of dollars, knowing full well that it wouldn't clear the House. It wasn't going to happen. You didn't have the votes from day one, but you know why they did it? So when November comes around this year, they can throw that in your damn face when you get ready to go in that voting booth. I tried to get him out. You knew you weren't going to get him out in the first place. Now, Negro, what have you done for my people? You see what I'm saying? It's a game. Talk to me, Donovan, because they wasted 4 years.
Exactly. But and notice this, and I'm sure you how much of a game it is. That big tax cut that just happened, that passed. A lot of these billions and trillions of dollars, that can't pass without Democratic minority approval. That passed. But when it comes to stuff for you and healthcare, and it can't be done. It's a game, and it's so sad that we can't see that they're robbing us deaf, dumb, and blind as they make us fight each other like a football game. My team won. My team won.
Now, you
There's
know,
one party.
during this pandemic in Houston, remember, if y'all kept up, I don't know if you remember, Demetri, we talked about it a couple of times. They built this makeshift hospital at Reliance Stadium, like a pop-up hospital, for $17 million. Democratic county judge, this is what we're going to do. You ain't even used it. You could have gave me 800 for that plan I got to get these youngsters from killing each other.
Yeah, they did the same thing at the Charger Stadium here in California.
And you never used it for one day. Wonder how much the consultants got paid.
Yep, tax dollars just being spent. Nothing could be done for you. Or like right now, we were on deal 3.5 in the pandemic situation. Out of all these 3 deals that they've negotiated in Congress, not one had money going to the states. Then they had to go revise it. It's like, shouldn't the people come first? Shouldn't the employers come? We just don't see it. But okay, and like I tell people, I've been making out as a gangbuster. I have a lot of stocks, so I'm making money at the end of this day. I mean, I'm not saying it's right and I'm hightailing it, but I get service first. I get my money first, but it shouldn't be that way. And we got to start holding these people accountable.
Final words, Demetri.
I mean, like I said, I just think we need to be honest with each other as Black people, especially, and ask ourselves what has voting, predominantly Democrat, what has it gotten us? Again, I am nonpartisan. I'm not voting for Trump. I think he's a horrible dude on the surface. He just is. I think Biden is worse in regards to Black people. We just need to be honest. What do we really want? And a lot of times people say we don't have a Black agenda. That's bull.
We do.
We have Black agendas forever. Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You have Dr. Claude Anderson. You got the Black Panthers had a Black agenda. I mean, so there's Black agendas everywhere, right? So we need to ask ourselves before I Watusi myself into the voting booth, am I going in there for a purpose or am I going in there for symbolism? If you're going in there for symbolism, stay home, making some popcorn, and turn on Netflix because you're going to get something out of that.
Right.
Donovan, final words?
Final word. I'm going to say this. The one thing I can say in the last 16 years that have been happening is that for the first time, Black people are seriously talking about politics, be it if you're on the left, be it if you're on the right. So Luana, and what's her name, Yaya, all you people that are on this show, we might not agree in our political philosophy, but subconsciously, some of the stuff that you're saying, I'm going to go home tonight and think about, and some of the stuff that, and vice versa. And that's what's important, because now when you go out there and you start looking at some of these politicians, you're going to look at them a little bit different and say, wow, didn't Demetri say something about those tangibles? Well, what you going to do? And it might come out. So, that's the important thing. I know people get mad and politics want to fight, but for the first time, Black people are actually talking to each other about where we need to go as a people. So that's what I'm happy about, regardless if you like it or not.
My final words are simple. You can't take a donkey to the Kentucky Derby. And come November, your donkey, Joe Biden, gonna lose the race. If you want my vote, Black politician, tell me what you've done for the black man. If you want my vote, white Democrat, tell me what you done for me. If not, I'm gonna have to rock with Big Daddy Trump, man. You got time. Y'all got a few months. I want to say thank you to my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the beautiful Demetri K. Tomorrow night I got my man, Missouri City Council member, Jeffrey L. Boney. Say that's a bad boy, man, but he been battling the corona. He coming through to talk to us about it. Went in and out the hospital. I see y'all, but remember, don't take that Kentucky Don't go to the Kentucky Derby with a donkey. You ain't gonna win that one.